Why you don't have to reroll in Honkai Star Rail? Because you do not want to get burnout. Just take a look at this. First is by reaching level 5, which you will get around 30 pulls. The second is by trying to hit level 15, where you will get 40 pulls, perfect amount for the beginner banner pity. The first option is bad because you only have 30 tickets, which is not enough to hit the pity. You're essentially betting on your luck to hit a 5-star before you hit pity. The second option of hitting level 15, which you have just enough to hit the pity, is also a bad option because trying to hit level 15 is going to take so long, and this is how you get burnout. For those who don't plan to reroll, good news is you don't have to, because all of the characters in the beginner banner are actually decent. First off, we have the buff and debuff characters, which is Bronya and Welt. Both of them have great sub DPS potential and good buff and debuff ability, which makes them valuable character in the long term. Those are the characters that you can use for a really long time until they're being replaced by new characters. So this would definitely be the best option to get if you plan to reroll. The second group we have are the tank and the healers, which is Japart and Bailu. They make the game so much easier in the early game that you're able to clear most of the stages easily, and they're going to be a valuable asset in both Forgotten Hall and Chaos Memory, which is Spiral Abyss, which will get you more Stellar Jade to pull more characters. You can think of them as the Zhongli of Honkai Star Rail, or the Bennett of Honkai Star Rail, if that's easier to understand. Now, they do tend to get replaced. For example, like Bailu isn't actually as strong as Luocha, which is going to be released soon, but who knows how soon. The only difference between Bailu and Luocha is Bailu needs to stack HP in order to increase her heal, but Luocha actually needs you to stack his attack damage, because the more attack damage he has, the more he heals. And having a ton of attack damage may also make him a great sub DPS. Plus, he had the ability to dispel a debuff on your team, just like Natasha's ability when she heals. This is one of the shortcomings of Bailu, because so far she doesn't have the ability to dispel a debuff. Now, the final group would be the DPS. This group tends to be replaced very often, but that doesn't mean that they're useless, because you do need quite a lot of DPS in the early game because of the elements. And so far, Yanqing being the most important DPS for the early game, because he is the only ice DPS. There is no replacement. If you're thinking of using Urta as a DPS, I would suggest you to forget about it, because she isn't as strong as you think, and she could be quite useless against boss fight. She is decent at farming materials, but I don't think she would be a main DPS. And the second one being Clara. She is a really strong physical damage DPS, but if you didn't get her, you could use main character first, because main character is also a great physical damage DPS in the early game. Clara is actually super good, but so far she doesn't seem to fit in the meta, because there isn't a teammate that could work really well with her abilities besides March 7, because the character's shield by March 7 has increased chances of getting hit, which works really well with Clara, because in order to do damage, Clara needs to get hit before she can do anything. And finally, we have Himeko. The reason I decided to put her in the last is because she really underperforms in the final beta. I actually got her as my second 5-star, and her damage doesn't really live up to a 5-star character, which I hope they buff her in the official release. But that's not really a problem, isn't it? It's Himeko. It's a win. Those who say she's a female, they look, I'll break their